A month ago, I had to make a very hard decision. I decided to put down two of my 15-year-old cats who both suffered from kidney failure. One of them was Sammy. Sammy has always been with me. I have so many fond memories of him, and it really broke me to have to decide to put him down because his health kept deteriorating. 5 years ago, when I got Binks, he got very attached to Sammy. He started sleeping with him, cuddling with him, playing with him when he was just a kitten. Sammy didn't quite like it, but he did tolerate it. Either way, Binks grew up with Sammy and he was very fond of him. My other cat, Murphy, who is Sammy's brother, he was in the care of my mother. So 2 years ago, Murphy came into my house and he went through a lot of surgeries, especially with his ears. Eventually, we had to take those off as well. A year ago, we also found out he suffered kidney failure, just like Sammy. I didn't have Murphy for very long. Binks actually did not like Murphy, not at the beginning. He eventually tolerated him at the end, but Sammy was definitely his favorite cat, which is why Sammy has a name button, but Murphy does not. And no matter what I did, their kidney failure was just too advanced to manage, and I decided to let them go. On December 9, 2021 was when a vet came by to put down Sammy and Murphy. The following videos are of the past month of what happened before, during, and after Sammy and Murphy were put down.
Oh ja, dit. Ja. Hij gebruikt vroeger als scheldwoord. Oh. Lekker. Kan je er bovenop? Ja. Zei je het nou echt? Ja. Ik wil dit ook voor mijn kant. Ik denk dat dit echt fantastisch klinkt.
I made sure when it happened that everyone was in the same room. I had Binks, I had Phoebe, my other cat, I had Zuko, my dog. They were all in this room when the vet put down Sammy and Murphy. So everyone got a chance to see what was happening, and they got to sniff their bodies. They got to see Sammy and Murphy being carried out of the house. And once the lady left with them, I sat on my couch and I cried my eyes out. I was already crying my eyes out because it was just too emotional for me, especially Sammy. He was with me for 15 years. He was my family. Either way, once I sat down, I heard Binks press a button.
Ja, Sammy is weg. Sammy weg. Ja. Sammy. Weg. Sammy is weg. Oh.
Because I didn't have a word for death, I tried explaining to Binks what was happening to Sammy. The closest I could get was that Sammy was gone, that Sammy was broken. Those are two concepts he was aware of and familiar with. So I kept reinforcing that Sammy was gone, Sammy was broken. I didn't expect to see Binks saying that he was sad, just like I was.
Nou, zielig. Nou, het is zielig. Sammy is weg. En dan kan weer op Sammy. Sammy?
Dus je weet wat het betekent? Wanneer je weet wat het betekent?
Dat weet je nooit zeker. Nou, en dit contact. Klopt het wel? Sammy is weg. Ja, Sammy is weg. Sammy weg. Nou, dat is zielig. zielig. Nou, dat is zielig.
My partner wasn't quite convinced that Binks knew what he was saying, that he was just pressing buttons and happened to press the sad button. But I kept modeling that I was sad, and then Binks said he was sad. 4 days later, he pressed something that without a doubt showed that Binks knew what was going on and that he was sad. I wasn't even at home when this happened. Binks was actually alone with Zuko, and I had to watch the video footage to see what he was up to, and I saw him pressing "Where, Sammy?" while crying. He was crying so loudly in the video, and he was doing this for an hour. He kept digging near the buttons because of his frustration. That's why the Sammy button had moved away from the soundboard, because Binks likes to move them around when he is anxious or angry or annoyed. But he still pressed "Where, Sammy?" and we weren't even at home. But that's definitely showing intent that he wanted to know where Sammy was, what happened to him. Without a doubt, he knew Sammy was gone. Over the next few days, Binks kept pressing the Sammy button. Pretty much every day, he would press Sammy, just Sammy, or he would sometimes combine it with Sammy outside. I kept modeling that Sammy was gone, Sammy was broken, Sammy wasn't outside, and Sammy also wasn't inside. That was the closest way I could make sense of saying Sammy is nowhere, Sammy is dead. Binks kept saying Sammy outside, and eventually he said this.
Sammy is weg. Sammy is kapot.
Klaar. Klaar. Buiten.
Ja, klaar buiten. Sammy nee buiten. Sammy is kapot.
Yesterday, I added a new button, a smell button, and today Binks used it in this context.
Rijk.
Eens ruik. Eens ruik. Ruik regen. Ruik buiten.
Weg.
Doe maar eens. Echt wat. Ruik weg.
Sammy. Sammy.
Ruiken Sammy niet meer. No. No.
He couldn't smell Sammy anymore. Sammy's scent is gone. This is just a month later, and he's still asking where Sammy is, and he's commenting about him, talking about him. His grief and confusion is very real. I don't think he's pressing random buttons. I think he's making a deliberate choice to talk to me about Sammy, asking where he is and what happened to him, and that he's upset that he can't smell Sammy anymore. Binks is definitely aware of what's happening. I'm not sure if he understands that Sammy is actually dead and not just outside and waiting to come back home. But hopefully in the future he will understand the concept of death. But for now, we'll take it one day at a time. I am not going to remove Sammy's name button. It will stay on the board, probably forever. Even pets want to talk about those that they lost and loved. So Sammy's name button is definitely staying on the soundboard for now. I will keep trying to teach Binks the concept of death, and hopefully he'll get it in the future. As I was making this video, Binks came up with another way to talk about Sammy, so I figured I should add it before I end this video.
Slapen, slapen.
Sammy is, ja. Nee, slapen, ja, slapen. Sammy, nee, wakker. Sammy is kapot.